Hey everyone, I have a brief but super important bit of science news to tell you about, which has really big implications for the potential of life in space. Okay, so first, a bit of context. We've known for quite some time that carbon-containing compounds, called tholins, exist all over the cosmos. Vast clouds of tholin gases wrap around star systems, where the tholins are exposed to the radiation of nearby stars. This radiation induces chemical changes in the tholins. It strips them of their electrons, or any protons they might have, and it can turn these carbon-containing compounds into reactive species, and they'll combine and interact in various ways and make rudimentary biomolecules. These initial early biochemical products can also be broken down by being hit by more UV radiation, and they can be turned into secondary and tertiary and quaternary forms based on this evolution of being broken apart and altered by UV radiation and reforming with other small reactive species. So you get this kind of randomized globular chemical boggle of sorts that generates early primitive biomolecules, and this happens naturally in space. These clouds of tholins that are changed by UV radiation, this is just an example, as there are several other chemical pathways through which biomolecules can be naturally generated by the physical environment. These processes can create amino acids, nucleic acids, sugar derivatives, and a wide range of other biomolecules that are critical for life, or for life as we understand it. Most recently, scientists performed an experiment wherein they simulated asteroid ice, like an asteroid that would be in space, by creating purified ice mixtures and exposed them to UV radiation. And then they analyzed the emergent chemical residues that were generated. The ice they used was composed of various ratios of both water and methane, replicating the ice that's found on various meteorites. They exposed their ice samples to cold temperatures and UV radiation, so as to simulate the environment of an asteroid floating in space. The UV radiation knocked hydrogen atoms off the water and the methane, creating radical chemical species that would undergo reactions of their own. This environmental exposure stimulated chemical reactions in the ice, and it encouraged the water and the methane to interact to form new carbon-containing compounds. This generation of new chemicals created residues in the ice, chemical residues, and these residues were analyzed to determine what chemicals had been produced. Now, I should clarify that their study did not analyze how exactly these chemicals formed. They didn't look at the precise, exact chemical processes that the water and methane molecules were undergoing. They specifically analyzed the resulting residues, the residues that were generated by this process. And when they did, the researchers found a wide variety of sugars and biomolecules. A lot of these have been discovered before, or are known about, and their genesis described in other studies, like formaldehyde, for example. But they also discovered a very important biomolecule that no one has yet discovered in an asteroid medium, or from outer space. The researchers discovered 2-deoxyribose, which is the sugar that's used in DNA. It's literally the D in the DNA. This is really exciting, because the work suggests that the precursor molecules for DNA could be able to form naturally in outer space, where an asteroid landing on a telluric planet, or a planet with heavy metals like a terrestrial planet like Earth, could theoretically seed it with life-viable biomolecules. That is incredibly cool, and it really ups the odds that life is widespread throughout the cosmos. The lead researcher on the study was Michael Nuevo from the NASA Ames Research Center. Mr. Nuevo said, quote, "Since asteroids and comets routinely crash onto the surface of planets, including the Earth, in the form of meteorites, it is obvious that large amounts of organic compounds, including compounds of biological interest, are routinely dumped on our continents and in our oceans, the same way they are probably dumped onto other planets of the solar system. This does not explain how life originated on our planet more than 4 billion years ago, as nobody knows how those organic compounds could combine into the even more complex structures required for life to get started, but it shows that sugar derivatives and other compounds of biological interest are present and are probably dumped onto planets everywhere in the galaxy." Unquote.